Welcome in. Episode number 26 of the St0ner Sports Radio podcast. Joining me again today is Zach Huffman at Zach_Huffman on Twitter. We will be discussing our trip to the sports book. How did our Masters picks turn out? I discussed a little bit of mine last episode. We will get Zach's thoughts here in a second. Is Saquon Barkley no longer a Giant? And OBJ signs with the Ravens. Is that a for sure that Lamar will be back? We will talk all of that and more. Zach, how are we doing this evening?
We're doing great. We're super nervous. Pelicans just took a 1-point lead over the Thunder here. Got 8 minutes left in this playing game. We are sweating.
Yeah, this is big time sweat time if you are thundering up as we are this evening, live during this fourth quarter down in the Bayou.
So we got a little action. We got a little action. Josh Giddey getting into it.
Uh-oh.
Uh-huh. Well, it's like they're getting into it in middle court right now. Oh yeah. Looks like a little maybe Josh Giddey, CJ McCollum action.
Okay. I like a little bit of chippiness.
Chippy.
Gamecast pulled up here. So let's go ahead and get the hard stuff out of the way, right? So we'll take a little meander down here to the sports book and we'll go over kind of what happened since April 4th. So it's been about 8 days since we have gotten together, but hey, we're here and that's what matters. So let's go over some of our picks. So XFL game, you went with the Sea Dragons here, or minus 1.5 against the DC Defenders, and what do you know with the DC Defenders pull the upset and win 34-33, just missing that one barely. Thunder lose by double digits to Golden State. That didn't work out very well for you. The Cavs could not cover the 5 against the Magic, and the Bulls could not get the win over the Hawks. Rangers get blown out by the Orioles. So it was just all bad. It was just bad for you. 0 for 5. Rough time for you. I go 2-3, so not much better. I got my Portland plus 17.5 over the Grizzlies, and I got my Dodgers over the Rockies last week. Got my Renegades plus 1 over Orlando in the XFL. Bob Stoops pulls out a 2-point win against the Guardians to save me there, even though one would have done it. But little extra insurance there from Big Game Bob for me. So obviously locks of the week didn't go well for you because we used the same pick, so 0 for 3 there. I go 1-2. My Spurs pick just didn't really pan out. They lose by 21 instead of 19 to the Suns. Just some bullshittery with that. So time to bounce back this week. That's the goal. Trying to bounce back from a disappointing week for kind of both of us at the time. Let's get into kind of the play-ins here, and then we'll revisit the sports book for our picks here in just a second. So let's get some of the play-in news kind of taken care of here on this Wednesday night. As we take a look at some of the results from earlier this week. So Bulls tonight, they beat the Raptors 109-105. They have earned the right to play the Miami Heat for a chance at that 8th seed, a chance to take on the Milwaukee Bucks. What was your takeaway really from Zach LaVine dropping 40? They were able to kind of skate by there at the end. Toronto looked like they had a lot of momentum going in to that fourth quarter, but they get outscored 37-24 in the fourth by the Bulls. Just catching fire was Chicago. And how big a trouble do you think the Heat are in, considering their loss to the Hawks coming into this matchup?
Well, I think they're in a lot of trouble. They got to deal with Zach LaVine in that game. I mean, what do you have, like 31 in the second half today?
Yeah, it was bananas. He had like nothing in the first half, and then all of it came in the second half in this huge chunk. So yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna have to deal with Zach LaVine, and I don't know if they have. I mean, they are like one of the best defensive teams in the league, but I don't think they have anyone to hold Zach LaVine in particular. So that's going to be an interesting game. Although I think I still have the Heat in that game.
Yeah, and
I
the
just
Heat
think they're the
look like
better
a
defensive
playoff
team.
team. Yeah, for sure. I would not be surprised at all.
And
Um,
I'm concerned as to who Jimmy's going to be guarding. Is Jimmy Buckets going to be guarding Levine, or is he going to be guarding DeMar DeRozan? Either way, you got to figure something out. I mean, DeMar DeRozan didn't have an amazing game, but he had just enough. I mean, he had just enough to hit that over on, 23 points.
yeah,
I think the line was
like
22.
22. Yeah,
So
yeah. You
yeah.
you were skating by there at the end. Needed some free throws from Demar to kind of get that thing over the hump.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Heat here too. I mean, look, the Bulls played really well. I just think the Heat, they let Atlanta slip by. They let Trey Young kind of go buku bananas uh, in
Yeah.
that game, and that was kind of the pain um, that they got to feel on Tuesday night. 25, 8, and 7 from Trey Young. Kyle Lowry drops 33 points for the Heat. Big input from him, but where was Jimmy Buckets at? That was kind of the question. He did not really play super duper well. So
Didn't even hit
expect,
his Taco Tuesday pick.
yeah. So expect a bounce back game from Jimmy Butler, probably against his former team. Uh,
Hmm.
so so that's interesting to look at. Let's talk about Timberwolves Lakers. Right, this game screwed me over. I was looking at hitting my 5 legger until that foul with point 0.1 seconds left put that thing into overtime. Um, it was it was not good. Um, as the Lakers got the win. I had said previously that they were probably going to win that game against Minnesota, considering the altercations with Gobert and all that stuff. I just felt like
Hmm.
Minnesota wasn't in the right place. But what ended up really hurting Minnesota was the lack of Anthony Edwards. Right, he was just not shooting well at all. Only finished with like 10 or 8 points. Just really bad night for Anthony Edwards. His worst game, I think, all season. What a time to have it.
True.
Um, but
And whoever wins this game between the Pelicans and Thunder here, they
yeah,
are
get Minnesota.
the
Yeah,
Timberwolves do not have a chance. The Timberwolves do not have a chance against either of these teams.
I mean, you would think that, right? I mean, with that, but Gobert will be back. Anthony Edwards will probably not play as bad. But the real big surprise in this game was Mike Conley, right? Mike Conley had like
Hmm.
21 first half points. Really ended up building most of that double digit lead that Minnesota had for 3.5 quarters. And then the fourth quarter started, and Dennis Schroeder got hotter than fish grease. And he ended up hitting that bucket to give them that 3 point lead with 1.4 to go. And I thought it was GG's.
How
Uh,
about that foul call?
it was just bad. It was I don't think
Yeah.
that you call that foul 9 times out of 10. It was a foul. He did land where he landed. I just thought it was just kind of like, nah. I mean,
It didn't
I
affect the shot that much.
yeah, somebody had some money on some OT stuff because
Hmm.
I can't see why you would have called that. It was a bad shot. Shot hit the side of the backboard. Um, it was amazing to watch as the foul was called, and Anthony Davis apologized in the post game interview to Dennis Schroeder about ruining his game winner by fouling there at
Uh-huh.
the end. Probably didn't need to foul. Probably didn't even need to get a hand up. That shot probably would have been off regardless by Mike Conley as well as he had played. Um, but still a very entertaining game. The Lakers looked like they were sleepwalking through this one for most of the first half, and then the second half, they outscore uh, Minnesota 49 to 38.
Hmm.
So I mean that was kind of the
So
difference. There was the second half scoring.
it's
Because
that
in that
playoff
first half
experience.
it was all Minnesota, and they were building that lead 10, 11 points, and then you just saw it kind of plummet as the bad shooting from Anthony Edwards kind of, when you waste those possessions, you're not going to have a great chance. What is your takeaways from the Lakers sneaking into that 7th spot to play Memphis, and is the season over for Minnesota?
I would say the season's probably over for Minnesota. I don't think they. I think even if Rudy Gobert comes back, that's probably going to bring more problems than it solves. Probably have another bench altercation or something like that. Never forget they traded 5 first-round picks for Rudy Gobert. But for the Memphis Lakers series, I'm very interested in this series, and I'm taking Lakers in 6.
I like it.
Lakers in 6.
I like it.
I don't, Memphis is exciting, but Memphis is young, and if it were against anyone other than LeBron James, I don't think they have a shot. Or I think they have a shot, but 6 games, I think the Lakers take care of them, probably beat them in LA. Um, I think the experience is going to come out. The Lakers are hot at the right time. I mean, you see what they're doing on the board. They're doing all the things LeBron wants them to do to motivate them for the playoffs. They're riding their playoff percentage chance on the board when at the beginning of the season when they had the 0.3% likelihood of making the playoffs. I mean, they're motivating themselves at just the right time. And oh my God, this playing game. It's a tie game with 3 minutes left. I am sweating.
Yeah, we're we're both keeping a side eye on this game right now.
I
Um,
just can't.
it's bananas. It's playoff basketball time. It's time to bite them fingernails off. But yeah, I think that's a good kind of summation of what we've kind of experienced these last 2 days. And
Yeah.
I like your thoughts on Memphis probably falling to the Lakers. I wouldn't be surprised at all for the same reasons. I just think that as much as Memphis claims that they're mentally ready for this, you're picking
Hmm.
probably the worst team that's heating up right now to be going up against. And but I'll tell you one thing: if the Lakers play like they did in the first half against Memphis, like they did against Minnesota, they're not going to have such an easy way clawing their way back into those games. So if you see
Hmm.
Memphis get up by 15, in the third quarter, I would say get ready to call that an L. For the Lakers, because I don't think they're going to be able to claw their way against a team like Memphis.
Especially not against the defensive player of the year,
Yeah,
Jaren Jackson.
I think that's the difference there. So definitely some different vibes from that series, but it'll be entertaining, and I look forward to watching that one go down. Um, so that kind of wraps up that discussion. Let's talk about kind of these first round matchups, right? We got games on Saturday that are actual series getting started here. Um,
Hmm.
let's start with Brooklyn and Philly here. Um, home game for Philly, obviously. They're 8-point favorites in this one, but Brooklyn, they play as a team, right? There's not really one guy that kind of hogs the ball without having Kyrie, Durant, or Harden on that roster anymore. Mikal Bridges has been the guy, but I don't think he is a selfish number one option. Spencer Dinwiddie puts in some good minutes. They've got other guys down low that have given them some good minutes as well.
Cam Thomas.
Yeah, so I mean they've got the pieces to really kind of give the 76ers a rough go at it. And we've seen the 76ers crumble against lesser opponents. Um, so it'll really
Hmm.
depend on how well I think James Harden plays for Philadelphia, and I think it depends on how well um, uh, the role players for Philadelphia play. Because if they don't play well, Brooklyn's going to take advantage of that. Because I said they're just a really good team basketball.
Yeah, I think if I were to put a number on it, I think Sixers in 5 here, but it's going to be a tough 5. I don't think it's going to be and I don't think there are going to be any games that are blowouts. I think you're looking at 5, 6 point games most of the time. Um, I really like Bridges, but give him like 2 more years before we're taking him over Philly in this series, especially with that team. Give Nick Claxton a little bit more time to develop. Um, that I really like the Nets. I really like the Nets, and I think an interesting thing to think about, especially if they can get a couple wins over Philly, is where Damian Lillard thinks about going after this season because the Nets are apparently calling his name,
Yeah, I
so
mean,
that'd be
I
interesting.
I mean, as good as Damian Lillard has been in Portland, they have not been able to get very far in the playoffs, no matter really what they've put around him. And what they put around him has never really been enough, has it? That's kind of been the problem, is they haven't really given him the help I think he deserves as an all-star caliber player. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I think that if you add that piece to this puzzle for Brooklyn, you might find yourself in a position where
That's
um,
contention.
yeah, at least a top four team in the East, right? I mean, easily. With
Hmm.
just how thin it is over there, it's giving like early 2000s. mid 2000s Eastern Conference vibes, where it was just like, whoever the East puts up in the finals is going to get waxed because there's just so much talent in the West. You're kind of seeing that seesaw kind of teeter a little bit more that way, with some of the
Mhm.
bottom, 5 or 6 teams that are in the playoffs right now for the East. There was not a lot of games difference in between them and the guys that aren't making the playoffs this year. So, you add that piece to Brooklyn and you're already in that 4 spot now. Obviously, not with this team going a whole season together, but you had some help early on with those guys that left. Um, but you add Damian Lillard to replace them, and you're probably a 4 seed still. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
think that you really see much change if they can get that piece. Interesting to see if they do. Here's the first kind of matchup with a play-in team that won. You have the Hawks and the Celtics. We've kind of done this dance before between these two teams. Is anything going to change here, or are the Celtics going to roll again?
Celtics should roll. It should be 4 games and over, in my
Oof.
opinion. They're the best team. I mean,
Not
they're.
even going to give them one? Give them one. Come on, give them
I,
one. You know they're going to
I
get
don't
one at
think. I
home.
mean, yeah, they'll probably get one. They'll probably get one just so Boston can win at home. But like, that's that's tough. That's a very tough matchup for Atlanta. They're not. They're. I mean, Marcus Smart's going to shut down Trey Young pretty much every time. Um, I don't see the that Atlanta team have anyone else going off for them. I mean, John Collins isn't going to do anything. Clint Capella is going to get you a couple of rebounds, but
And
he's not
Dejounte
going
Murray,
off
if he
for
if
you.
he can help you out a little bit.
He can help you out a
Um,
little bit, but
he
he's going to have to deal with Jason Tatum probably
yeah
the entire game.
yeah, it doesn't look good for Atlanta, but I mean, props to them for beating the Heat and being there instead of the Heat. Might be
Yeah,
to the
I'd
Heat's
rather see that matchup than the Heat. I'd rather see Hawks than the Heat on the Celtics
yeah,
because
because
yeah,
I think that playing the Heat in the later round would be a lot tougher for the Celtics than having to put them in the first round against them. I think that would be a waste of that matchup. Um,
hmm
Knicks and Cavaliers. Cavs a 5.5 point favorite over the Knicks. I mean, if Julius Randle scores like 45, the Knicks might have a chance. But the Knicks just need a lot of help, right? I mean, this is all about
yeah.
who's going to help Randall on the offensive side of the ball because Donovan Mitchell and Garland and those boys have been playing really well.
And how much would it suck for Knicks fans? They lose to Donovan Mitchell in this playoff series after almost getting him for basically 3 years.
It wouldn't be anything new to them. They've already been sick to their stomachs for the last decade. I mean, I
Yeah,
mean, they probably and they know going into this that they don't have a chance. I don't think any Knicks fan is I mean, they probably are, but I mean, I don't think they're
they're
delusional enough
delusional.
to think that like we actually have a chance at winning this series. Now, if they can steal one of these games in Cleveland, then maybe. I mean, but that might be a tall ask. Has it happened? Yeah, like we've seen these lesser teams, pick off the first game. Usually they win the first game, the underdog
Yeah.
does, and then they might not win again. That's kind of how that kind of goes. Um, Most of the time, you get that upset in that early game, and people go, "Oh, is this gonna happen?" Then the other team's like, "Hey, f you, you woke up a giant, and here we go. I'm gonna beat you down." Um,
Look at 6 games. I
yeah,
would say 6 games
yeah.
for the Cavaliers
Yeah,
in
I
this
think
one.
that's fair. I think
They're
that's
young
fair.
enough that they're not just going to sweep the Knicks,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
they're the
yeah,
better
yeah.
team.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. I think the inexperience kind of gives the Knicks maybe 2 of these wins. Um, but I think that's going to be it. But we saw last season, right, how Julius Randle just disappeared in the playoffs, right? So if he does that again, um, it could be over in 4 or 5. I wouldn't be surprised. But that's one of the more, I don't know, kind of uncertain when Cleveland's going to end it, but they should end it type conversation. Um, what do you think about as we go over to the West, the Warriors and Kings getting started um, Saturday night? That one, a local kind of rivalry, I guess you could say. It's just, two teams that are very close.
Um, I think they are very close if we're talking regular season, but when it comes to the postseason, I mean, I think the Warriors win the series in 6,
Yeah.
actually, as well. I don't think the Kings will put up a fight just because of how good they are and how talented Domantas Sabonis is in particular. But the Warriors are healthy. Draymond Green can shut down Domantas Sabonis effectively, and no one's holding Steph in play. Clay's playing some of the best basketball he's ever played right now. Um, I don't know. That could go either way, but I think the Warriors pull it out in six, and I think the Warriors make it all the way to the conference finals.
Yeah, I mean, Warriors are only a 1 point favorite for Game One, which I don't have a problem with, considering it's Game
Yeah.
One and how lit that place is going to be down there in Sacramento, how packed it's going to be, how loud it's going to be. I could see the Kings winning Game One, and I could see
Hmm.
them, coming back home to win one before losing on the road in Game Six. I think that's probably what you're looking at. So I think you're right. I think maybe the Kings take two, the first and maybe the fifth game before sending it back to San Francisco to lose, or Oakland, wherever Golden State is. Uh,
Oh my God, we are sweating right now.
how bad we sweating right now?
We're up by one with 28 seconds left.
Okay, and
So
that's
we're
sweating.
sweating.
That's sweating.
We are up by one though, because Shea is him.
Yeah, he's him. We talked about Lakers Grizzlies. What about Clippers Suns? Right. This kind of depends on how healthy Paul George is. Right. That's the real big question. Right. If Paul George is good to go, I think we've got ourselves a series. If he's not, I
This
think the
is
Suns take care of it.
this is my first 7 game pick. Clippers in seven.
Well,
Clippers in
damn.
seven.
Well,
I
damn.
am I am running with Russell Westbrook here.
I mean, I I like it. For that
If Paul George
story.
is back, if Paul George is back by game three,
Hmm,
Clippers in seven.
okay, I like that. I like that. So you think the Clippers could be down 2-1 and still fight their way back and win three straight if Paul George plays the rest of the way?
Um,
I like that because then you would have the narrative of, oh, the Suns are gonna run away with this, and then Paul George comes back and says no, excuse me, and then here come the Clippers. I like that.
mhm.
I would
And
like to see that.
And I think Russell Westbrook's going to play fantastic this series. He's gelling well with the Clippers, and he wants to play well against KD. As much as he says there's no beef, there's a little beef. You know,
Yeah,
there
I,
is a little bit of beef.
I see there's a little bit of beef. Are we at the free throw line to try to make this a 3 point game right now?
I might be a little behind. I might be a little behind here on the Stream
It
East.
says
You know,
117, 114 with 12 seconds
yeah,
to go.
looks like it. I think I'm a little bit behind. Yeah, I think I am a little bit behind.
Okay. Don't want to spoil it for you. Um but yeah, I think that's a good rundown of what we know so far. We'll know a little bit more here in a couple minutes. Let's go ahead and recap kind of the Masters, right? I mean, John Rahm takes the Masters. Talked about this a little bit last episode. My Victor Hovland pick ended up finishing seventh. So if you had chosen to finish top 10 and we're kind of believing in me, you might have won some money. Justin Thomas, for both of us, drops out on Saturday, did not make the cut for Sunday.
Hmm.
And Dustin Johnson, for you, finished 47th. So
Yeah,
not terrible, but just not a good week. But you were right though, right? The back-to-back winners, very rare, and Scotty Scheffler, not that guy, right? I mean, we
not
kind of
that guy.
figured he wasn't gonna be the fourth guy to do that, right? Like we were kind of like, yeah, it's probably not gonna be him. But I think John Rahm was what, the second favorite to win it, and ended up kind of,
He was up there.
yeah, he was
He was
definitely in the,
third, I think,
yeah, third, yeah, and I
because
just
I think
kind
they
of,
still had Roy up there.
yeah, I think we kind of shrugged him off as, oh, man, probably not him. But I mean, he just played very well. Brooks Koepka, though, I think is more about his meltdown, right? Brooks Koepka,
Mhm.
going into Sunday, kind of was in control of his own destiny and kind of choked on the clubs a little bit and ended up blowing that and putting it to a point where John Rahm could have four-holed 18 and still walked away with a 1 point stroke victory. Obviously, he ended up winning by 3 strokes, so I didn't have to worry about that. But I mean, it was definitely an interesting situation, and it was not super entertaining, but it was still something to watch because there was really nothing else to watch on at the time. So, I mean, Masters is always a classic. Tiger Woods withdraws after day two with injuries. Rough to see that happen, but
Made
you
the
know,
cut though. Made the cut.
yeah, made the cut. Yeah, didn't
Important.
didn't have to withdraw because he didn't make the cut. So that's the big thing, is he still would have been able to play. Wasn't really in the winning, kind of discussion. Um, But I think another big takeaway is just how well Phil Mickelson played, right? I mean,
Yeah,
just
how
cut
about that?
coming all the way back to finish tied for second with two other guys. Um, Fantastic last day for Phil Mickelson, shooting an amazing like 60 something like on the course, just blowing it out of the water. Um, and it just proves to, like we said. I mean, some of these old dogs they can hang around for a while. You're not gonna put
It's
somebody
an
like
old man's
Lefty.
game.
Yeah, you're not gonna put something like Lefty all the way out here. Still
You
shows
see what
12 seconds
Pelicans
left.
game. Yeah, I got it going right now. Well, they just called something with 1 second in.
It's gonna go for a foul to try to
I
prevent him
think
from
they are
shooting a three.
still these teams are getting chippy. It looks like they're just
Yeah, Pelicans are at the free throw line. I think it was an intentional foul by us to keep them from shooting a three at all.
smart move, but I don't know how I feel about it. I mean,
No, we
smart.
just
It
got to hit our
seems like
free
a smart
throws and
move.
then it's over. If we hit our free throws and we don't give them a chance to shoot a three, we'll be fine.
Oh yeah, but I'm a lot more worried about us hitting our free throws.
I think the Pelicans just missed the second free throw, so we have a chance to maybe go up four here.
Okay, yeah, here we go. Because I'm still a little behind. I think I still got Brandon Ingram just at the line.
Um, yeah, he doinked it.
Dunked
Um,
it. All right, nice.
so right now Thunder up by two, 117, 115. Um, Thunder going to
What,
the
10.4 still on yours?
it says 9 seconds here. Fine. But I'm looking at DraftKings
See if
right
I can
now.
pull up a new. Let me see if I can pull up a new. No, that's not gonna keep delaying anymore. Actually, it'll just be the same. Oh well. Yeah, I got the probably minute delay on Stream East right now
Okay.
because he just
Um.
hit the second free throw.
Okay. Did he miss the first one?
He did. He did.
Okay.
He doinked
Okay.
it.
Doinked
Yeah.
it. Okay. So he did go 1 for 2. So that's good news for Thunder fans if we can hit both of ours. Um. Let's see. So that's kind of that. Let's get into this Saquon Barkley thing, right? I mean, Saquon Barkley not signing the franchise tag. Kind of an interesting, not unexpected move for some people, but for me and
Yeah.
you and people that are not diehard New York Giants fans, this was kind of a little bit
I'm
of a
a
shock to us.
diehard hater.
Yeah,
I am a
you're on the
diehard
other side of that
Giants
as a
hater.
Dallas Cowboys fan. You are not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're okay with him leaving, and going somewhere else as long as it's not in the NFC East.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'm all for Ezekiel Elliott going to New York right now.
yeah, I mean that's one of
Send
the
him over.
discussions, right?
Send
They
him there.
they they said can Dallas bring Saquon, and if they do bring Saquon, do they pass on drafting Bijan Robinson and let someone else pick him up? Um, that's
Yeah.
kind of where you're at, right?
I'm actually not on the bring Saquon here train. Just make sure
Oh
he's not in the NFC East train. I'm all in on Tony Pollard, and I think we should just try to keep Tony Pollard and make sure he's happy.
yeah,
Which I think we're gonna do. All things seem to point to making Tony Pollard happy as long as we don't draft Bijan Robinson,
yeah.
which I'm kind of on the fence about. But I mean, might as well here. What we got? Looks like we got a little foul.
Uh, 119, 118 right now.
Oh
Um,
God.
with
Okay, God.
with 3 seconds to go. So we'll.
Okay, yeah. There's so let me tell you where I'm at on Stream East. We got six. It says 6 seconds left, and it's 115, 117, and the Thunder are shooting free throws. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming they're hitting both,
Yep.
and then the Pelicans hit a three.
Yep.
That is okay. We are sweating.
Yeah, we are sweating. Yeah, I'm over here. I'm over here with spoilers. I'm like, oh yeah, we're hanging in there. Um,
See, even Google still shows it delayed. You're on DraftKings right now.
yeah, DraftKings is up to the second. Um,
Oh, yeah, let me
Thunder
look at
hit
this.
their first free throw for the intentional. Um,
Oh God.
and now they got one more to go. I don't know how many timeouts the Pelicans have left. If they've got a timeout in their pocket, they still have plenty of time to get off a decent look at a
If
three
they can get
because
it,
they'll
yeah, they
advance
can
it to
get a
half
three off.
court. Yeah,
Oh God. Oh man.
I don't know if he doinked the second free throw or not. Might have doinked the second. It might only be a 2 point lead now.
Oh, what a three though! What a three!
Who hit it?
I didn't even see. I just saw the shot. I couldn't even. I think it was Brandon Ingram. Oh my! Oh my God!
Yeah, I think the Thunder doinked the second free throw. So 120, 118, 3 seconds to go. Pelicans with a
Shit!
chance to shoot a three here to try to win it. And
Oh man! Oh man!
but kind of give me a rundown of kind of some other destination spots that might fit Saquon. Like for me personally, I think that you look at a team like the Jets, you look at a team because you have Aaron Rodgers coming in. Um, might look at adding that piece there. I mean, Brees Hall is good, but you need a 1-2 punch, I think, with Brees Hall, and I think that would be definitely an upgrade there. Um,
Oh, okay. I have 121, 118 with 2 seconds left. So I think they hit their second free throw and DraftKings didn't update it.
I think they
All right,
must
I
have
think we're
like
good.
yeah.
I think we're good. Oh,
Final,
all right.
final.
DraftKings says we won. Let's
Okay,
fucking go.
final. All right, final. All right, final. 123, 118. So the Thunder will take on the Minnesota Timberwolves for a shot at playing the Nuggets in the first round. Um,
Let's go.
so there's your final play-in update coming live at you here. Um, so Thunder get the win. They will move on and play Minnesota for a chance to try to take on the Nuggets in the first round. We'll see how that game goes, as that game will be played on Friday night at 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. Um,
Ooh,
so
checking my pulse here.
yeah, we were sweating. We were sweating over here, boys and girls. Um, where would you like to see Saquon shuffle himself to if he decides to leave New York for sure?
I was thinking about this. I would like to see him in Seattle. Um, I think that'd be a decent spot. And if he can swing it, why would he not try to get himself on the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah, I mean that would
Um,
be that'd be definitely a
if he can swing it, I don't think he's getting traded anywhere else in the NFC East. Otherwise, I would say Philly is a great spot for him. They're not going to trade him to Philly. And then, yeah, I would say he would try to find a contender to go to. So you might see him, especially with all this Joe Mixon stuff going on, you might see him go to the Bengals.
yeah.
Um,
Bengals would be a
you know,
good fit.
if if Joe Mixon ends up not being the running back there after all this controversy he's got going on, um, I could see him going there, but I would think he would try to go to a contender somewhere in the AFC because I don't think they're going to trade him anywhere big in the NFC. You don't want to help out another team like that.
Yeah, I mean
So
that's
I would say somewhere in the AFC contention wise. So yeah, I'd be looking at the Jets, especially after that Aaron Rodgers trade. The Chiefs, the Bengals. Those are the big three, and I don't think he's going to be in Buffalo, but that'd be interesting.
yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of talk about where he would go. Um, do yeah. No one's really speculating anything. I think a lot of people are thinking that he might just come back to the Giants after the offseason and sign then. Um, who knows? But definitely interesting stuff happening in the Meadowlands with the New York Giants. Other big names moving on. OBJ moving up to the Baltimore Ravens. Um, he was seen with Lamar Jackson in a club the other night. They were getting a little
Hmm.
schmooze together, but of course Lamar has not yet signed anything with Baltimore still. Do you think this is kind
Hmm.
of the piece that gets Lamar um, back in a purple uniform, or do you think that um, he's gonna want something else other than just OBJ?
You would think that this would be enough to get him in the uniform, get him to go ahead and re-sign it. Based on his posts on Instagram and everything, it seems like he really wanted OBJ. and the Ravens ended up delivering on that. So, I mean, you would think that he would go ahead and re-sign, but I would agree with what he's done so far that if they're not going to pay him what he deserves, you know, I don't. The problem is he is asking for a little much.
Hmm.
It is a little much. I don't, I don't know if he deserves the Pat Mahomes number
Yeah.
just yet. He hasn't delivered on a Super Bowl. I mean, he does have the MVP and everything, but it's tough, and especially if you want to keep players like OBJ around, can't take a can't take a huge number, but I would think that he would resign for somewhere around 45 now.
Yeah,
You would hope.
especially when you're paying someone like OBJ 18 million for 1 year. I mean,
Hmm.
that's a big chunk of coin. And the reason I think that you're right that he'll probably resign is because the rumor was or initially that if they got Sammy Watkins, he was going to resign. That was all it was going to take. Was if they could get
Yeah.
Sammy Watkins, he would come back for sure. So I think if you bring OBJ instead of Sammy, which most people would say is an upgrade from Watkins. If
Oh
OBJ
yeah.
can stay healthy, that's kind of the big thing, right? Watkins also was injured for a big part of last year as well, so both of those guys had kind of injury questions coming into this. Um, but you would agree, though, right, that the OBJ is an upgrade to Sammy Watkins, so this
Oh
should
yeah.
solidify this, according to that rumor, right?
I mean, yeah, I know it's been a while, but let's not act like OBJ's last performance wasn't two touchdowns in the first half of the Super Bowl.
Right.
I mean, seriously, the man should could have won Super Bowl MVP without playing the second half. I mean, I would think he probably should have, but OBJ, it's been I guess almost 2 years now, huh,
Hmm.
since he played. Um, it'd be interesting to see how fast he is and how fast he's moving, but I would assume he is still a top 10 receiver in the league. Um, definitely not top five, but
Well, and definitely the best option right now in that receiving core that
hmm
they've got. I
yes.
would say bar none. So he's definitely the number one guy, um, talent wise in that receiving core because that was the problem, right? And that's why they had to bring in a wide receiver because they like Justice Hill at running back. Um, they have Mark Andrews still. Um, you put together these pieces, right? And it seems like offensively this team is good, right? And last
Yeah.
year, this was a defense first team. Baltimore was. It defense really carried them because of the lack of skill position consistency, right? That was kind of the big thing. And of course, Lamar doesn't play for a majority of that second half of the season. You have Tyler Huntley in there, which doesn't really help you out much, but you almost beat Cincinnati on the road until Tyler Huntley decides he wants to try to quarterback sneak it and give the ball right to Sam Hubbard, who takes it 98 yards the other way
Yeah.
to flip that game on its head. Um, so let's not think that if and this is a big if Lamar doesn't come back that Tyler Huntley couldn't get them back to where they were last season, right? In a
Oh yeah.
position in a wild card game to try to advance. I think that even without Lamar, if you add OBJ and these players that played well last season progress appropriately, you should still be in the contention for a playoff spot for sure because I don't see a team that's going to jump up and take that from you in that division.
Oh
Um,
yeah, and look for speaking of AFC teams, look for Saquon Barkley to go to Baltimore.
mm,
If that were offered, I think that would definitely bring Lamar back if you brought him Saquon Barkley. And that would the amount of weapons that they would have in the backfield, including Lamar Jackson in that scenario, including Sammy Watkins in that scenario. I mean, that's insane. Especially if you can get Saquon back there. That would be a team that I would actually bet on to make it to the Super Bowl if they could grab Saquon Barkley.
yeah, if they could get Saquon, OBJ, and Lamar on the same team, you're looking at an offense that's probably going to be one of the most productive in the league if everybody stays healthy. Now
Hmm.
that's the big problem though, right? I mean, Saquon coming off that ACL tear, big question.
Yeah.
OBJ out for like you said, almost 2 years of not playing football. Lamar Jackson coming off of injury, and then the problems with not wanting to play even when he was healthy. Um, if you can keep the mental, tantrum issues and you can keep the physical injuries from happening for most of the season. Because let's be honest, if you get injured the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season and you have a chance to come back, that's still better than you getting hurt late in the season and not having a chance to have your team compete for a playoff spot. Especially in a division where you're going to be close to the top because the other teams aren't probably going to be there. I mean, Cleveland's probably not going to be a threat. You've got you know you've got these teams in your division that aren't really going to give you much of a problem. Pittsburgh, not really the team either, right? I mean, really, the only competition you've got is Cincinnati, right?
Right. I'm not a fan of Pittsburgh at all. I think Najee Harris is a bright spot on that team, but other than that, I'm not a big Kenny Pickett guy.
I
Um, that team is looking bad for the next 10, 15 years, I think.
what are your thoughts on if Saquon decides to go to a team like Jacksonville or even Indianapolis, right? Indianapolis with him and Jonathan Taylor back there together, and you bring in a guy. Um, oh, who did Indianapolis bring in at quarterback? Didn't they bring somebody in? I don't know why I'm drawing a
At
blank.
quarterback,
Yeah, am I
they
am I
didn't bring anybody in. They're
did
looking to draft.
okay, that's they're looking at
Yeah,
they're looking at drafting the kid out of Florida, right?
yeah,
Anthony
Anthony Richardson.
Richardson, yeah, because they've got Sam Ellinger right now as their starter, I think. So that
Yeah,
ain't gonna last. I think I was thinking that they were in the Aaron Rodgers hunt earlier this
they
year,
they were
and
they were.
yeah, and that
They
didn't
were
really.
all the way in it, I think, for a while until the Jets kind of just swooped in and got them. But
Yeah, which kind of was a
um,
shock to me.
I would speaking of Jacksonville. I would really like to see Saquon go to Jacksonville. I think that's a team that is just right there on the edge of being a really good team. I mean, you saw what they did in the playoffs with
Yeah,
that. What was it, a 32-point comeback or whatever? I
ugh,
mean,
my
geez,
my Chargers. I mean,
yeah,
if
just
if
ruined
if
it.
if Saquon went out to play with Justin Herbert, I think that'd be a sight as well because that would be an upgrade from what they've got back there at that running back
Austin,
position.
well, they have Austin Eckler.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, like, but he's not him. You know what I'm saying? Like Eckler is
Yeah, that's
consistent, but
fair.
he's not him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like,
That's
I
fair.
don't have a problem with Eckler. I love Eckler. I'm just saying if I had to pick Eckler or Saquon Barkley, I'm picking Saquon Barkley. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody's dumb enough to be like, oh, Austin Eckler, I'm better than Saquon Barkley. But if they could have that 1-2 punch, they would be a threat. Like you said, if he could sneak his way to Kansas City, you're looking at definitely Super Bowl favorites, no doubt. Um, you look
Even
at a
if he went
team
to
like
Jacksonville, though, I mean, you
yeah,
got him with
Trevor
Travis
Lawrence,
Etienne,
yeah,
and Travis Etienne is in my opinion, is probably the running back one in that situation. You just have Saquon Barkley probably take the third down power moves.
maybe.
I don't
I
think Saquon. I think Saquon's the better running back, but I think
yeah.
that you'd see Travis Etienne take more snaps just so you can kind of preserve Saquon as much as possible for those important runs.
Well, when you look at a team like maybe Detroit, with Jared Goff and those boys, that could be an asset. Minnesota needs another running back other than Cook. I think him and Cook being a 1-2 would be dangerous.
I mean,
Um,
Dalvin's getting up there. He's getting up there in age. He's
he
starting
is.
to.
The
That's not a
Panthers.
bad move. But so is Saquon.
The Panthers have the cap room, to make something happen for sure. Um,
I don't think he goes to. I don't think he wants to go to
No,
Carolina.
he doesn't want to, but they could offer him a boatload of money. That's the
Yeah.
only thing they can offer him. Atlanta's still on the table for someone big, to mosey on down there. I mean, they're kind of in the basement. You look at Kyle Pitts, and you look at Atlanta also kind of maybe being in the hunt for someone like a Stetson Bennett to maybe come in and take over for a Marcus Mariota or something like that.
Mhm.
I mean,
I
it
mean,
wouldn't
don't
shock
they
me.
have? They have Malik Willis, don't they? But he's not. Or no, they have. Who'd they get? They got Desmond Ritter. That's who they
Yeah,
got.
yeah, but he's not very good. I just hasn't translated very well. Willis plays for the Panthers. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
and you look at a team like New Orleans, though, right? They get Derek Carr. If you add Saquon Barkley back there with Derek Carr, is that something that entices you? I don't know.
I like it, but I don't know what the difference is between that and Josh Jacobs. I don't think that you get much of a.
Um,
I don't think the record improves much there. Yeah, I'm down on the Raiders.
yeah, I
I'm
mean,
down on Derek Carr, is
yeah,
what I should say.
yeah.
He's not. I think it's funny that he snuck into that Pro Bowl and got to.
No, I mean, apparently the Saints liked it because they had enough to sign him. So I mean that
Yeah,
that that was
yeah.
kind of a big thing. I mean, 49ers don't have the cap room now. They have McCaffrey back there along with Samuel that back there. I don't think they've got the room to add another guy like that that's going to be able to
Mhm.
have considerable amount of carries, and Saquon's going to want the ball in his hands. So that's off the
You
table
know,
for me. I like your Seattle idea. That's not a bad
yeah.
idea. The Cardinals could use him. Um, I think that's a team that I think they were kind of one piece away from winning a lot of those games.
Oh,
They lost a lot of close ones. And I think that
I'm
was the
pretty I'm pretty upset right now about with the Cardinals because of Cliff Kingsbury going down to USC to be
yeah,
the new, basically the quarterbacks coach for the
yeah,
Trojans after being an NFL head coach. That
yeah,
is rough. That is rough. I'm not excited. Obviously, I want to see USC lose every single game.
yeah.
Um, so them getting Cliff Kingsbury is not good news for me. It's not good news for the Caleb Williams hate train. Um, it's looking like he's going to get back-to-back Heisman's.
Good.
So,
But again, that's just one of those masters things. Where not a lot of people do that either. The
yeah,
voters
yeah, but
don't like to have back to backers. Here's two other ones I'll throw at you here. These are kind of at the bottom of my list of possibilities, but they're interesting to talk about, right? Denver Broncos, right? Denver Broncos could use
mm,
Saquon Barkley. Um, they need anything really to try to because that's what they're missing is skill position players, so they could definitely use him. The other one I was thinking about was Chicago with Justin Fields and him back there. I think that would kind of open up that offense as well.
I
What are your
like
thoughts on those
Chicago.
two?
I really like Chicago. Um, Big fan of Chicago in that situation. Um, him and Justin Fields would be interesting, especially with whoever they take with because they got this number one pick still. I don't know if they're gonna trade that, although they should. I don't know if they're going to. There are rumors that they take C.J. Stroud anyways and just see what happens.
Man, two Buckeye
Um,
quarterbacks on the same team.
yeah, I don't know about that. Um, but I like the Broncos idea too. I don't think they're going to win any games just because they don't have the quarterback situation really figured out very well. But
But if you add him, they could be fighting for that spot, that second spot with the Chargers. Because
yeah,
I think it would it would oust the Raiders as the worst team in that division instead of the Broncos. I think
yeah,
because those are obviously the two AFC West bottom dwellers are Denver and Oakland right now. Um, so I mean, you add him to either of those teams, I think those are the teams that a team like the Chargers would have to be concerned about because I think we all know that Kansas City's coming up on top of that division again, probably this upcoming season. So you just
yeah,
kind of have to
100%
talk about
chance.
that division from three down instead of 1 through 4. Um, yeah, I mean, I think from our discussion right now, I think what we're figuring out. Well, we didn't talk about this. Dolphins an option? Not an option?
I don't know if they have the room.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I
Um,
don't think they have the cap space, but with Tyreek Hill retiring, does that open up cap space?
um, yeah, but I don't think that happens soon enough.
Yeah, you're
Speaking,
probably you're probably right.
I don't
Um,
know if I ever mentioned to you that I was at a hotel in um, Washington D.C. and I saw Tyreek Hill. He was like checking into the hotel,
yeah,
you know,
I mean that'd be a big get
and I
for
like,
that'd be a big get for the Commanders, right? I mean
oh yeah,
that'd be a big get for them. And if you bring Saquon with him, I mean,
yeah.
all of a
I
sudden
learned
that
that that was actually just a meet and greet thing. I think he
yeah,
was doing.
but
So
still, I mean, it's fun to think about, but not for you as a Cowboys fan. But that's fun to think about as a
yeah, I was
as
like in this
as
hotel staring at him, and he kind of caught me staring at him and looked away quickly, and I'm sure he was worried he would get swamped by press or anything, but I'm just sitting there worried that he's going to sign with the Commanders.
Yeah, yeah. I wasn't thinking anything bad.
Yeah, I'm just staring at him. I'm like, don't you do it. Don't you do it. Come down to Dallas. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, I think that go ahead and just give me your top three destinations for Saquon, and I'll think of mine here in a second. Go ahead and give me your top three that you think would work out best for him and the team.
Yeah, so I think after what we've kind of talked about, I would still say Seattle, um, Chicago. I really like that Chicago pick, and I really like the Dolphins. I don't know if they can get them, but if they could, the Dolphins would be my move. Since they probably can't get the Dolphins, I'll just say the Jets.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
I mean, for me, I think I would throw Baltimore out there as an option if they've got the money. Now OBJ might have taken most of that cap space money, so that might not be an option.
yeah,
Um,
18 mil for 1 year is a lot.
yeah, so that might be off the table now, but that would be epic. Um, so that might be my number three because of the fact that I don't know how much of a possibility that is. I am also on board with the Jets. I think if you bring in Aaron Rodgers, you got to bring in somebody to supplement Brees Hall. I think that would be a perfect addition, and I think my number one spot for him that I think he would thrive the most and would have the most impact for the team positively could be Jacksonville. I think I like when you brought that up. I think having Etienne and him back there with Trevor Lawrence, that would be something that in that division in particular, with how bad it was the previous season. Now it probably won't be as bad now that Derek Carr is in New Orleans. I mean, not that I'm high on Derek Carr, but I think he is an upgrade from Jameis Winston.
It's
So
still the
I
worst division in the NFL.
Yeah, so I
But
mean, yeah, I think they would be duking it out. I think it would be New Orleans and Jacksonville duking it out for that spot to get into the playoffs. But I think that they could do it. I think that they could definitely get something together there in Jacksonville that could definitely be something special. At least enough to win a couple playoff games. I don't know if it'd be enough to get them to the Super Bowl, but I think they could get to the division or the conference championship game, maybe sneak in there. Because
they
I think
almost
they
snuck
had,
in this year.
yeah. So I mean, I think that it might solidify their chances of being a consistent playoff contender and someone that you might throw a couple dollars on to get all the way there as a dark horse.
Hmm.
So I think those
Trevor
are
Lawrence.
I think we've come up with those good ideas. And I think that kind of wraps up NFL discussion for now because that's really the biggest thing going on in the league right now is just kind of players moving around and preparing for this draft coming up. I'm sure we'll talk about that a crap ton after it's all said and done. Um,
The draft is interesting.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
who
I
do you
think
take
I
number
think it's
one?
going to be bizarro. I think this draft is going to be the weirdest draft we're going to see in a while. I think there's going to be a lot of what the hell kind of picks going on because I don't really think anybody knows where certain teams stand as far as what they want, especially in the top 10. I think you're going to see a lot of surprises in that top 10. But my question to you, which I brought this up earlier with Atlanta, but do you even think Stetson Bennett gets drafted, or are we on the boat of not getting drafted? Because I think that
He
someone's going to take a stab at him.
fourth round.
Fourth, okay, yeah. I mean,
Fourth.
I think he could, and this would be a delusional idea, but I think he could sneak late second.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think someone could look at him and go, he's a winner. He's got experience in high pressure situations. He's come from behind several times. He's not he's got poise in the pocket. He's not gonna shock you with arm strength. He's not gonna
Hmm.
shock you with accuracy. But I think having someone like him on a roster as a backup um, does not
That's
hurt
what I
you.
would say.
Yeah, I
That's what I
think
would say. He would be a great backup choice if you were say a even like a Jets or a Saints kind of team.
I
I
I,
mean,
I
I
wouldn't
would
be
look
mad if
at
the
I would look at
Chargers
them to
picked him
pick him
up.
as a backup.
I think he's better than
Yeah,
Chase. I mean, or I mean, even Kansas City. I mean, better than Chase Daniel maybe trotting him out
that's
there.
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying. He's a solid backup option right now, just because he's a winner. The only reason you wouldn't take him earlier is because of his age.
yeah,
He's a little bit older, so I could see a team that has an older quarterback take him just to see if they could develop him a little bit to be able to take over that almost veteran role as soon as he needs to. Look at him to take over spots like I don't know. I mean, I would say throw him somewhere on like the Saints where you have an older quarterback like Derek Carr.
Or
Um,
San
you know,
Francisco. I mean, we've seen
yeah,
San Francisco have. I mean, you got Brock Purdy in the seventh. Ended up working out okay for you. He didn't
mhm,
leave. So right, he didn't go anywhere. He hasn't
no.
left. I think they've still got those three guys there, right?
I
Um,
think you see
or where
maybe like
did
the
Garoppolo go?
Texans take him.
Garoppolo went to the Raiders, right? That's where he went.
I think he's on the Raiders now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so you've got Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. If you get Stetson Bennett on that roster, I mean, I don't think that hurts San Francisco because you've got your big money guy off the books now because Trey Lance is still on that rookie deal. So you don't have him asking for big money till after this season. If
I
he
would
looks good
see.
enough to offer him.
I could see the Hawks or not the Hawks, the Falcons, taking him,
Yeah, because they got
just
injury
because
prone guys out
hometown.
there. And
Well,
and I think
hometown
he's
hero.
better than Desmond Ritter. Like unfortunately, I think
Yeah,
he's better than Desmond Ritter.
I mean, he's
Um
the hometown hero.
yeah, that would it would help you sell tickets for sure. I think that
yeah,
that would
like
also be something.
they love Stetson Bennett down there in Atlanta.
Yeah,
You
he
know,
gives me like the equivalent of Drew Timmy, right? Like I mean, like Drew what Drew
yeah,
Timmy is, in translation the NBA is what Stetson Bennett is in translation to the NFL. I think you're looking at a guy that has seniority, has years under his belt. He can give you a solid couple of series or in NBA terms couple minutes that can really be productive. Um,
hmm
I mean, in my opinion, I think Drew Timmy has a little bit more upside than Stetson Bennett, but I think that
yeah.
I think it's an accurate comparison with these super senior guys that are going to get, um, that are draft eligible and have proven to be very good at the collegiate level, but
Mhm.
don't give you a lot of wow, this guy's going to be great at the NFL type potential or pro level, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's just in that sweet spot of probably. I think he probably, he's not going to go as high as say like Jalen Hurts did because I think Jalen Hurts was a third rounder and he was like
Yeah,
20. He was like 21, 22 when he got
and,
drafted.
and that's a Heisman winner being drafted in the third round too. Like Stetson Bennett didn't even win the Heisman.
Well, Jalen didn't win it. He only got
Oh, he
second.
got second.
But
Okay, well,
and I think Stetson only ever came out third or fourth on the Heisman
yeah,
votes.
he
But
was.
I'd see
Yeah,
him in the fourth round just because two natties. I mean, you can't deny that.
yeah, he deserves a shot for sure, right? I don't
Yeah,
think anybody should deprive him of an opportunity to at least be on a practice squad somewhere if he doesn't go undraft if he goes undrafted. But I just don't see him
yeah.
going undrafted. I think that there's
If
too
he goes
much.
undrafted, he's the first one signed.
Yeah.
He's the first one
Mm-hmm.
signed if he goes
Yep.
undrafted.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's get into your picks. So once again, $100 for you on the board since you lost all your money last week. Congratulations on that. Been
Yeah,
there, done that. Not a fan. Um,
yeah. Let's pull up this
let
DraftKings odds and
um
see what we got.
I've got them in front of me as well if you want to look. So
Where are we starting?
I'm starting with the XFL. I already have three of my picks, so um I've only got two left. But you've got all 5 years open. So XFL, I went with the Brahmas over the Guardians for mine. Brahmas are a 1.5 point favorite over the Guardians. Um, you have Roughnecks, Vipers, Renegades, Defenders, and Sea Dragons and Battlehawks as the other three games going on this weekend.
Why can I not see XFL odds?
I had to literally go into the URL and after football do a backslash and do XFL to find it this week for some reason.
Yeah, why don't you just tell me them
Yeah,
real quick?
so you have Houston, 6.6.5 point favorites over Vegas. Um,
Houston 6.5 point favorites. Okay.
you have the Defenders are 8.5 point favorites over Bob Stoops and the Renegades. Um, and you have the Battlehawks and the Sea Dragons in a pick'em with the Battlehawks as a 1 point favorite at home.
I would take the Renegades on that one. Eight and a
Okay,
half.
so we will
That's
do
huge.
Renegades plus the 8.5.
8.5 is huge.
Yeah. How much confident are you on that on a $1 to $20
Not
scale?
not very. Um I'll put 15 on that.
15 on that. All right, I leave it at 85. Um, the next two games I have are NBA games, so we'll go to the NBA here.
There we go.
Um, again, you got on Friday you have Bulls and Heat, and now you have Thunder and Minnesota as well. Minnesota opens as a 4.5 point favorite over the Thunder.
Oh, oh, oh. Give me that.
Yeah, give you that. All right, Thunder plus the 4.5. I mean, they covered the 5 tonight, so
Give
so
me give me 30 on that.
30 on that. All right, 30 on that. I got my win against New Orleans, so I'll go ahead and mark that down. So we got that win. Happy days.
And, go ahead and throw me 15 on the Heat.
15 on the Heat as your second pick.
Yeah.
Heat -5 against the Bulls.
So let's see. 15, 30, 15. That leaves me with $40.
All right,
I
so
think.
we have one more. You have one more NBA to pick, and then we will go with an MLB game at the bottom.
Yeah. So you know what? Just to make things spicy for one more NBA game, I'm gonna go with kind of what you said on this Celtics Hawks game. I think the Hawks can steal, maybe not steal game one, but cover that 9 point
Okay,
spread.
Atlanta +9 versus Boston. How much are we throwing on that?
And I will just, since I got 40 left, I'll just throw an even 20 on that
20.
one.
Okay, and we'll do 20 on the last one. Okay.
Yeah.
For my third NBA game, because I had the Thunder as my first one. I've got Golden State -1 against Sacramento.
Mm,
And then my third one, I'm gonna go with. You know what? I'm gonna go with the Lakers plus the 3.5 against Memphis in Game One. I think that
it's a good
I,
one.
I think Memphis has had too much time off, and I think that the Lakers are kind of heating up a little bit. Let's see, I had 285 going into the last one, and now I've got 85 still on the line here. Got my 50 back, so 50. I got 50 on Golden State. That's 100. So let's go ahead and do. I lost 50 with my MLB pick. 235. I'm gonna go ahead and put 30 on this one on the Lakers to cover that 3.5 against Memphis. And then for our last one, we will go MLB. Give me the show. Um, games tomorrow. We got a bunch. Go ahead and give me yours. I said a bunch. There's only like 7.
Yeah. Hold on, I gotta look at it. Yeah, I'll take this one all day. Um, give me give me Tampa Bay Rays. -1.5.
Over the Sox. All right.
Yeah, they are on fire. I had to look it up just to make sure, but they're 12-0. I mean, they are on fire.
All right. Got that going, and then mine will be uh Cardinals are playing really bad. They
Yeah.
got the worst, tied for the worst record in the NL Central. Um, um,
Why are every single line 1.5?
yeah,
Jeez.
they're always 1.5. It never changes.
Really?
It never changes. It's always 1.5.
That's a good line.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna take the Yankees over the Twins. We'll go New York
Okay.
Yankees. We'll
I
go with
like that.
their minus a run and a half versus Minnesota. Do the do that one. Um, and since I already have one of my locks already complete, was OKC +5. Still waiting on the XFL for my other lock. I've got only one left. My other lock is going to be the Yankees lock. I think I'm going to lock the Yankees in at -1.5 over the Twins as my pick for that one. Which three are you picking for your locks of the week?
Obviously, the Thunder. Um, I'll take the Thunder. I'll take the Renegades, and I will take the Rays as my three locks.
All right. Well,
We'll take it.
that's your locks. Zach is hoping for at least nabbing like 2 or 3 of these after
Jesus,
after
right?
after last time. But hey, I mean, it's a fresh slate. You can't be wrong with a fresh slate. Anything else you want to bring up before we skeetle on out of here?
Um, just this Timberwolves Thunder game. Obviously, it's a rough one. I think that. Well, what was the line? 4.5.
4.5. Yep.
Yeah, that one's gonna be rough. I think that one's gonna come down to a last second shot. So I don't know if that 4.5 is hitting, but
Hey, I mean, all you need is the Thunder to win. So I mean,
that's
if
all
they
I'm worried about.
yeah, if they win, then you're fine. So just root for them to win, and you'll be just fine. Um, as
But
for
yeah,
me,
let's go SGA.
yeah, SGA is him. All right. Well, I appreciate you being here. For everybody else listening to the Stoner Sports Radio podcast here on YouTube, I'm Will Warner. That's Zach Huffman. Keep your stick on the ice, and we'll see you soon.